So, welcome to the Claim Hunters. My name is Chris Tidball, and I am here with Carly Eastwood, who is with Mode Global.
That is correct.
Mode Global. Now, what do you do with Mode Global?
So I am the Assistant Vice President of Risk
Okay.
Management.
Okay.
So I oversee all of their claims, all of their carrier compliance. I buy all the insurance for the company
Oh,
and make
wow.
sure that we are regulatory compliant,
Okay.
along
So
with our
that's
legal team.
so are you an actual insurer?
No, so we are a 3PL. We're a
Okay.
transportation broker.
Okay.
So we're non-asset and we have no trucks, no drivers. We actually take in carriers to ship our customers goods from A to B.
Okay.
So my job is to make sure that we're vetting out bad actors and making sure the fraud's down and making
Okay.
sure claims counts are down and that we're educating our customers and our carriers and our agents on not getting fraudulent, people into the building.
Wow. So, I mean, walk me through some examples here. So, let's say I'm buying something. Okay, I just bought something from Sam's Club online.
Sure.
And I got a call from a freight company that said, we're going to be delivering your goods in a week. Are you involved in something like that?
So that is more of a like a white glove service or last
Okay.
mile, final mile.
Uh-huh.
So what we do is we have very large corporations, and I'll use Costco as an example.
Okay.
So they hire us to make sure that we get a carrier
Uh-huh.
for them to get their product from A to B. So like I always think of us as like an intermediary
Okay.
between our customers and the carrier.
Okay.
So if anything breaks down in the middle,
Uh-huh.
we are there to pick up the pieces,
Okay.
right? So if something happens in the course of transit, they would call us and say, "Hey, we had an issue, we had a damage, we had a
Right.
seal breach," because we do air, land, and sea.
Okay.
So we do ocean, we do air, we do truckload, we do LTL.
Okay.
We are the plethora of everything. Mode Global is on a global scale. We have Mode Canada, and we are about to open Mode Global Logistica in Mexico for
Wow.
intra-Mexico uh, deliveries as
Okay.
well. So instead of being like you go buy furniture and a delivery man shows up at your house,
Right.
that's just a carrier.
Okay.
We are actually the long haul, the relationships between a company and the relationship between the carrier.
Gotcha. Okay. So now one of the things we're hearing a lot about on the news are these commercial driver's licenses.
Yes,
So truckers that,
the non-domiciled trucking.
yeah.
Yes.
So how does that play into this?
Well, I mean, we're going to lose, I would say probably over the next few years, we will probably lose about 400,000 drivers because of the non-domicile rule. And it's
Wow.
it's going to affect capacity, of
Sure.
course. I think and I'm not going to get into politics, but I think what the government is trying to do is to make sure that the people that are behind the wheel
Right.
can read the signs on the road.
Right.
There have been accidents that have been reported over the last 5 years
Right.
where someone had an accident because they couldn't read a road sign. Danger means danger, right? And
Right.
if you can't read the road signs, really, should you be behind the wheel? And I don't know the answer to that question. I can tell you that there are a lot of great drivers out there that are losing their licenses,
Right.
but what they're doing is they're doing it as a rollout. So they're they're not doing all at once. Everybody's gonna lose, but you will not be able to renew your license if you have a non-domiciled license. California is going to get really strict on it. Of course, California is strict on everything, but it's going to roll out and it will affect capacity across the United States.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, 400,000 is, I mean, well, how many truck drivers, commercial truck drivers would you estimate there are? Probably in the millions,
In the
right?
millions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you think about everything that we do on a daily basis, everything has to go by truck or by train or by
Yeah.
boat I mean, everything we get from
Right.
our clothes to
Right.
our shoes to our, household goods,
Right.
they're coming from somewhere,
Oh, sure.
right? And whether they're coming from overseas or if they're coming from, the next state over, there still has to be a driver involved.
Right.
And so I know Texas has had a lot of crackdowns. They have a program right now going on in Texas, and forgive me, I forgot the name of it, but literally the state troopers are out stopping people. And if you can't pass the fluency test, if you can't speak English, read English, understand it, they are shutting the trucks down on the side of the road and making the companies come get the trucks.
So how does that work? So Texas would be interesting because being on the border with Mexico, you're going to have cargo going back and forth across the border.
Of course, so
So,
cross-border is very prevalent.
so how does that work if you have, let's say, a driver from Mexico bringing a semi across with goods from Monterrey,
Sure.
destined for Houston, gets pulled over in Texas, but he can't pass the fluency test, but he's from Mexico.
Yeah, it's a fine line, right? So those are intra-Mexico carriers that are coming across the border. So they have a little bit of a different legality on the cross border.
Okay.
And some of them are stopping at the border and handing off. I know that
Okay.
we've done shipments to where they originated in Mexico, they get to the border, they hand it off, so to speak,
Okay.
and then a US leg comes in. A lot of the stuff that we're doing is US to Mexico, but now that we have the Inter-Mexico
Right.
company, we'll be using more of that. But we do a lot of cross-border. And I really think that Mexico law and US law very different.
Sure.
Because in Mexico, you don't even have to have cargo insurance.
Really?
Yes, it's not required in
Okay.
Mexico. So when you're doing cross-border, if your truck is based out of the US going into Mexico, US law is going to apply for that truck. So depending on where you're going, the ins and the outs, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they weave all that together. And it's still playing out.
Oh,
I
yeah.
I don't think anyone knows how that's going to play out.
No, it sounds like there could be career opportunities for people here in the States, right? I mean, I've always heard that commercial truck drivers make a pretty good
They
living.
do.
And if there's 400,000 job openings, we hear so much about how AI is coming and it's going to take jobs. But, what we forget is that, with every new coming, the assembly line, the computer, whatever, people were scared this is going to take all of our jobs, but there have always been new jobs to replace it.
Right.
Does this fall into that category of, yeah, maybe AI is going to take over aspects of
Sure.
the logistics world, but boy, we sure need truck drivers.
Well, and I think the human touch is always needed.
Yeah.
Not to sound like a Debbie Downer, but I'm not a big, huge fan of AI. And there's just there's too many unknowns and there's a lot of good things going on.
Sure.
I'm guilty of running my emails through Chat GPT and making sure that, look, I'm very tonal
Uh-huh.
and I want to be professional.
Right.
And I've learned that sometimes a softer side of Carly is a better
Sure.
deal, right? Because you don't want people to think, well, she's just, negative Nancy all the time.
Right.
But as far as like, even though they have trucks on the road that have no drivers in them and Waymo and, things like that, they have no driver. It's very scary if you think about it. And if you really think about it, if you really dig into it, me being in risk for over 30 years, I think about what's going to happen when a non-drive car kills somebody.
Sure.
Who are they going to blame? Well, they can't blame the driver of the car.
Right.
Are they going to blame the computer system? Waymo is obviously going to get sued,
Right.
or whomever the company. It's not just Waymo, but I worry about having 18 wheelers with no drivers, but they are on the road right now. They're testing them between Dallas and Houston. They're going back and forth right now. There's companies out there testing driverless 18 wheelers. And to me, it's just a scary situation.
It is. I don't disagree. I see, the Waymos when I'm out west. They're actually heading to here in Orlando here soon, but out in Phoenix, for example, Waymos are everywhere.
Yeah.
They're all over the place.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, I want to try it. But I also have heard stories. I mean, there have been accidents. There was a story of a guy that got into a Waymo and got to the airport, and the Waymo wouldn't let him out of the car, kept driving around in circles. So what happens when you have a 18-wheeler that's loaded up heading from Phoenix to Los Angeles and it ends up going to New York City? Right. I mean,
yeah, and it's all about, they always say it's all about the person that is managing the behind the scenes that's actually setting the tone. But I mean, is that going to open up the door for more fraud? Because
Oh,
if there's no driver involved, that truck can go pretty much anywhere somebody tells it to. And if you get a nefarious person
sure. I'm going to hijack the
behind,
load.
yeah, the load's gone.
Right.
And then there's $100,000, $200,000, $400,000 load. You
Right.
never know. I'm a big proponent of shippers interest policies because they're all risk, but I have a feeling that as we move forward into the future, these shippers interest policies, even though they're all risk, there's going to be some exclusions for things like that because you have nobody to subrogate. I mean, yeah, sure, you can subrogate the company you thought you hired,
Right.
but I mean, anybody can, you can see it with the email hacking.
Oh,
People are hacking people's emails
yep.
on a daily because a lot of companies are using Gmail still and Yahoo. And not to put those companies on blast, but I had a customer yesterday say, I don't want any carrier used unless they have a corporate domain. That weeds out a lot of carriers. And the
Sure.
reason why they want it is because the people with the corporate domains, most of them have, single sign-ons, they have multi-factor authentication. If you have a Gmail account, where's your multi-factor authentication? How do I know that I'm talking to you? We have to do so much human vetting
Right.
behind the carriers. It's really scary what they're doing. And it's not just as simple as adding a one in Joe's trucking at yahoo.com, adding a one and somebody, missing that. This is literally people hacking into people's Gmails, taking over their whole book of business,
Right.
and then sending out, yeah, we can come pick this up. Well, sure you can. So, I mean, we've had to add processes at work to where we are looking at everything. We are looking at we are looking at the phone numbers. We are looking at the emails. Are they verified? Now, we use a program called Highway, which
Okay.
is very popular now in the onboarding platform for multiple people. They have a carrier side, they have a
Yep.
broker side. And Michael Caney over at Highway, probably one of the most brilliant men that I ever met. He's that company, and Jordan, who is the owner of that company, they impressed me so much when they first started. I was like begging to get them on board,
Right.
and we do now. They do our onboarding, so they have multi-point verification to make sure that the people that we are getting are human, they're real.
Right.
They actually have to scan their driver's license front and back. They do a 32-point inspection on the driver's license to make sure it's real, that it's not a picture. You can't have a picture of your driver's license. They do facial recognition. There's so much out there that can prevent fraud, but people are not talking about it.
Right.
And that's where the problem lies. A lot of competitors, so, we have big competitors, C.H. Robinson, Landstar, they're huge competitors. They are larger than we are. We are, I would say, a mid-range to large broker, but there are companies out there and people are afraid to talk to each other because you're a competitor. So why would I give you all my tricks of the trade? But if we don't do that,
Yeah.
fraud's just going to go even more out of control because we've literally seen a 2,400% increase in fraud since COVID.
Wow. That's crazy. I mean, it sounds like, all of the companies are probably doing certain things, right? But and that's where I think a little bit of competitive collaboration
Oh,
might
yeah.
make sense, sitting together at a table, the leaders of these your competitors essentially sharing best practices. It's not meant to hurt the other person. It's meant to make the industry stronger. And
Absolutely.
fraud hurts everybody, right? It drives up prices, and I mean, we see prices keep going up. Anything we can do to get rein things in would be beneficial.
And that's one of the things I respect a lot about TIA. They have brought a lot of us together. We do fraud calls, fraud prevention calls. We jump on, task force.
Okay.
Same with IANA, which is the intermodal
Okay.
portion of it. So everybody, we are on these calls talking about how do we make this stop? How do we prevent it? How do we slow it down?
Right.
The really cool thing about what we've done at Mode is that when we implemented Highway, we also kept a human touch of our vetting as well. So I have 19 people in my carrier compliance department.
Okay.
I have a manager, two supervisors, a team lead, a team of analysts, and a team of admins. And all they do is vet carriers and make sure that we're not getting these nefarious actors in the door.
Right.
And when there's problems, we are shutting the carriers down. If somebody gets hacked, we put them on hold or we DNL them very quickly. Highway again with their load lock alerts. If a truck goes out of range, if something changes in the middle, before a load ship, we've been able to prevent a lot of fraud, and we were able to reduce our fraud year over year 42% last
Wow.
year.
That's
So from 24 to 25, we had a 42% decrease in fraud. But that's because we have to do so much more to protect our interests. We had about 750 less claims overall.
okay.
And for a company that ships 1.25 million loads a year, last year we only had 2,900 claims. So that's a big, huge difference when 22, 23, 24, we were at 3574, 3594, and 3552. Those were our claim counts.
Sure.
So having a 2,900 claim year with 1.25 million loads, that's a 0.029% loss ratio. And that is amazing. You want to stay below 0.5% in the industry, especially the industry we're in.
Right.
Really, they say anything below 1% is excellent, but we have consistently stayed below 0.5% every year since 2022. Now I joined Mode in late 2022, and we've been able to revamp and reorganize and restructure, and it's made a difference because we're talking to our shippers. We're talking to our agent network. We're talking to our CMO, which is our corporate managed offices who actually work for our company. But we have an agent-based network similar to what Landstar has.
Okay.
Except for we have no trucks, we have no assets, which makes it a little easier.
Sure. Absolutely.
When you don't have to do DQ files and manage your drivers too, it makes it a little easier.
Right.
But risk is out there. Risk is always going to exist in any space that we're working.
Yes.
So I enjoy it. I mean, you can tell I get really excited talking about it because I love what I do.
Yeah, no, well, speaking of what you do, you've got a couple of awards coming up here. So tell me a little bit about, you've got something here at the CLM.
I do. So I am a finalist for Corporate Professional of the Year.
Outstanding.
Crazy enough, I didn't even know I was nominated.
Okay.
I happened to just get an email saying you're a finalist, and I was blown away. I hope that they tell us who nominated us because I still don't know.
Right.
But I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful.
No, that's awesome. And you have a Miss Texas type of crown?
Yes, I do. So last year I was the reigning Ms. Texas, so the married Miss Texas.
Okay.
And this year I won the crown for Classic Miss Texas. Now the difference is I'm a little older. I'll be 50 in May. So our category is ladies that are 40 plus.
Okay.
I won that crown. I am preparing for nationals in September.
Wow, that's great.
So I will go again to nationals for the state of Texas, which I'm really excited about. And then I also hold the title, the local title, Miss Corporate America Bay City. Now, Miss Corporate America is based on your career. So you either have to be a business owner or a leadership role in your business, which I have both because I have Mode, which is my day-to-day amazing job, and with my amazing team of I think I have almost 60 people that report to me now.
Oh, that's great.
Either directly or indirectly. And we've really grown that organization. But I also own Eastwood Mediations. I am a licensed mediator in Texas, Georgia, and Louisiana.
Okay.
And so I do bodily injury, property damage, and eminent domain mediations as well.
We could probably have a whole other podcast on that. That could be hours.
Crazy conversation about how much I love to mediate. But yes, I mean, I have a lot of fuel in the fire. My boss always asks me, how do you do what you do? You're always so busy. I'm like, I don't like to sit still.
Yep.
I want to keep going. And, when you find something that you love, it's not a job.
Right.
It's a passion.
Absolutely.
And I've been doing risk since I was 17.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it does get in your blood. I mean, I got into it, following, college was my first job out of school was with an insurance company. And it gets with you. So if people wanted to learn more about Globe Mode Global, where would they go?
They would go to modeglobal.com.
Uh-huh.
And we are made up of 4 different brands. So a lot of people find us on suntechtts.com or avenger.com. But we are all, Mo Global is the parent company of 4 different organizations. We are private equity owned as well. And yeah, modeglobal.com.
No, that's great. So, Carly, it was great to have you on here. This is fascinating stuff.
Thank
And
you.
I'm sure we could spend hours talking about this.
Yes, I could talk all day about
yeah,
risk.
but thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.